Thank you for staying with us on the AM show, and we bring you, in the next 50 minutes or so, all the talk from Parliament and beyond. Two crucial matters we're going to be looking at. Absenteeism in Parliament, per the standing orders and what they say about being absent 15 times, 15 consecutive times, if you like. And there's also the bit about the majority leader criticizing, throwing pot shots at former President John Dramani Mahama. Why? He says he's been noticeably, conspicuously absent when it comes to some events at which the current president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has been the keynote speaker. Convention, should the president be held to it? Good political will? Or is it a sign of bad blood? We get into all of those details with our two guests this morning. We have Dr. Kingsley Nyako, who is Member of Parliament. He joins us for this discussion. We also have Roxanne Nelson Dafiamako, Member of Parliament for South Dai. Kingsley Nyako, of course, Member of Parliament for Kwadaso, joining the conversation. Gentlemen, a very good morning to you. In the course of the show, we'll also be joined by Professor Kwabena Safo Kantanka. He'll be also sharing his thoughts as one who follows Parliament keenly. Well, let's get into the conversation now as we talk about your three colleagues who have been put forward. And now there is talk about their being sent to the Privileges Committee and so much talk in that regard. I'll start with you, Roxanne. What do you make of that entire situation? Is it something you are for? I've heard the likes of Okujeto Ablakwa, saying that that is the right thing to do per the standing orders of Parliament and all of that. Are you for it?
Yes, of course. If you recall, MPs have come under barrage of attacks, particularly regarding punctuality one and presence in the chamber to participate in the business of the House. Ostensibly because some do not attend upon the House. Now, our brother Samuel Okujeto took pains to look through the evidence available. And so as far back as February, he had raised the issue that if others were, as it were, bashing the Honorable Adjo Asafo, the former Deputy Majority Leader of the House, the Minister of State in charge of the Minister of Gender and Children Affairs, she's not alone in that regard, and that there are 2 or 3 other members who are also in that soup. So it became a topical matter. Then some other citizens petitioned Parliament to have that matter investigated. I am aware of about 3 separate petitions from citizens. And so Speaker, faced with the matter, decided that the procedural steps available under the Constitution be sprung into life. And so he, as it were, came to the House by a Speaker's communication, which is also a procedure available to him, to bring the matter to the attention of the House and consequentially referred it to the appropriate committee, which is the Privileges Committee in question. So the most important thing is the Constitution is very clear. It's not a very simple matter because there are procedures you must follow. You must offer reasons, and the reasons must be reasonable. So a whole evidence is going to be led. And others were of the opinion that given the constitutional provisions, a straightforward matter. I said no. Because you see, like he knows. So
it's not a straightforward
No.
It's not as simple as some people
Yes, evidence will have to be led to establish that.
Well, what evidence? Okay. What you're looking for is the attendance of members. You look at it, and if for 15 occasions, must it be consecutive?
Yes.
So 15 consecutive occasions, like I've been mentioning.
No, it's 15 sitting days.
15 sitting days.
That's what the Constitution says.
Okay, so it mustn't be consecutive.
Yes.
All right. So 15 sitting days out of the sitting days in an entire
in a
year.
meeting.
In a meeting.
In a meeting. So
Okay.
in a quarter.
Right.
Sort of.
So if in a quarter,
We have
and
three meetings.
that is substantial then.
Yeah, we have 3 meetings in a year.
Right.
So a meeting averagely has about 12 to 13 weeks.
Of course, you're looking at about, if it's a quarter, then you're looking at about 3 months.
Yes.
In that.
So it has about
approximately 12 to
yes,
13,
exactly.
depending on the week balance.
Exactly.
Right.
So if the Constitution says out of the, and you know that we sit 4 times in a week, that's how critical it is. So it means that you must have absented yourself out of about 35 sitting days. You must have absented yourself for about 15 days or more, which is practically like half of the sitting hours of Parliament.
Right.
And so that's how the Constitution takes very serious view of that.
So for purposes of education, if a member of Parliament absents himself, let's say 5 times within meeting 1, another 5 times within meeting 2, another 5 times within meeting 3, that does not qualify.
Yeah.
It must be 15 within 1 meeting.
In fact, if it does 14,
no, just for the sake of clarity,
yes.
that's
In
why
fact,
I'm
if
putting
it
that
does
out there.
14
Right.
in one meeting, he escapes it by a shade.
Right, because
of 1.
it's spelled out that it
Yes,
must be
15.
All right,
Exactly.
please go ahead.
Okay, so a committee, which is the Privileges Committee, must go into the matter. So their jurisdiction will have to be invoked. Now, when you invoke their jurisdiction, they have to hold an inquiry. And at that inquiry, audio alteram partem, you must hear the other side. So the member of Parliament in question will have to be invited and be heard, and the issues interrogated. So whoever is the complainant may be relying on the votes and proceedings, which is this green one. But the votes and proceedings is only prima facie. It's rebuttable.
Right.
You understand? Because there are occasions that...
This is just face value.
Exactly.
Go beyond.
Exactly. And that there are days that you'll be on the floor and then you'll be marked absent.
And we've seen that in recent times. In fact, some people who supposedly were not even present who were assigned.
Yes.
And that has also created
in fact, it's something that happens every single sitting day. But I think...
Why is that?
No, I will explain. But I think that the last week, what happened became topical because of the nature of the particular business of the House in question. Otherwise, that's why we have correction of votes and proceedings. All these corrections are done every morning. And it's become one of the particular people who corrects the votes of the House. So, Akakpo, I'm saying that when a member is cited or is referred to the Privileges Committee in respect of Article 97(1)(c), he will have to lead evidence. And that evidence will have to be interrogated. And the evidence must be reasonable. That's all the Constitution is saying. So it's a whole inquiry, parliamentary inquiry, into determining whether or not a recommendation can be made for the member to be expelled from the House. The other controversy surrounding the interpretation of 97(1)(c) in question is whether the decision of the committee will be final. But in my humble opinion, no committee of Parliament can make a decision on behalf of Parliament.
Because the Speaker did say that it would go to the committee, the Privileges Committee, and they would have their vote, after which, I mean, if it was for the fact that, or if it pointed to the fact that these people ought to be put forward, then they would be brought to the plenary.
In fact, they will make a recommendation.
Right.
They
would make their decision, but it would come to the plenary.
What they will do is that they will bring a report on the inquiry they must have held. And then the House will debate it and take a decision. That is the procedure. So
the Privileges Committee can say, for example, that their seats should be made vacant, or
they will recommend. They will recommend.
Exactly.
But the House is not bound by that recommendation.
And then it would come to the floor, and you would then debate it and take a vote to decide what exactly.
It could be a voice vote.
But some have said that that is not what your standing orders say. As the Speaker has interpreted it, because he has the interpretive power.
Yes.
But some say that it should rest at the Privileges Committee, that what they decide should be final.
Let me establish why those people got it wrong. It says, in case of doubt, this order shall be interpreted by Mr. Speaker as he deems fit. That's order 5.
Right. But what does it say specifically when it comes to
hold
issues
on,
like this?
hold on. So when you go to committees, that should be give me a second to pull.
Okay, so while you find the appropriate, I don't know whether Dr. Nyako would be able to find it ahead of you, but quickly, while he's doing that, Dr. Nyako, what is your initial take on this entire matter, these 3 MPs being hauled before the Privileges Committee? Muntaka Mubarak, the minority chief whip, has filed a motion to revoke the Speaker's,
Not to challenge.
Basically to revoke it. I mean, the bit is whether to challenge or not. In the end, to revoke.
No, the procedure is if you are aggrieved by the Speaker's decision, you file a formal motion to challenge it. It may not result in a revocation. It may not result in a rescission.
But it may.
Yes, but it is not to revoke it. It is to challenge.
So for now, it's a challenge that has been
Exactly.
put forward. Okay,
Exactly.
so to challenge the Speaker's ruling. What is your quick take on that as he looks for the standing orders?
Yeah, 51.
Then let me say a very good morning to your revered viewers and my constituents from Kwadaso and Ghanaians as well. For me, whatever we have to do in our house to prove to the world that we are focused on our mandate. We are there to do our job. We have to be punctual in the house. We have to follow procedures. I'm all for it. So whatever decision that we are taking, we must be guided by procedure. So I don't fault anybody who will raise issue about absenteeism because you are elected to go to the house, not to absent yourself illegally, but to go and perform your assigned functions. And it doesn't mean that you cannot absent yourself. You can do so by seeking permission from Mr. Speaker.
Right.
And for me, that is respectful. You need to respect the position of the Speaker. You can't be in Parliament because of ABC. All of us, Senator myself, anytime I'm not in the House, I make sure that I fill the form.
So walk us through the procedures, just because you're a member of Parliament, because it's been mentioned that you can be present with permission.
You can be absent with permission.
You can be absent with permission, absent without permission, or of course the other bit would be that you are present. So what are the dynamics to go through?
You are either present or absent with permission or absent.
Right.
Okay, so anytime you enter the chamber of Parliament, you have to go and sign the attendance register. So that is the procedure. So if you have an urgent assignment, maybe in your constituency, or you are indisposed, you can do so via seeking permission. Okay, but there are others who have sent themselves and all that. But for me, Roxanne was right that Honorable Okoneto Ablakwa had raised the issue earlier on, and he put out the names of these 3 persons. One of the defects that I saw in the House yesterday was the fact that we are not privy with the entire attendance of the 275 members in the House. We should have proceeded from there. Give us that evidence that King Senyako absented himself on this number of days. Now, it seems that we are fixated on these 3 persons. Is it also possible that others might have absented themselves more than the 15 days but were not captured? We should have given the evidence. Because then if you're not careful, then there will be the assumption that might be wrong or right that some people were pursuing a particular agenda targeting this 3 persons. So I will be happy if we will be privy for me, that is a legitimate call.
Okay.
Now,
even before you go on, and especially as you're talking about the fact that you are not privy to the full details, the full facts of these, let's take a look at these three members of Parliament and their absenteeism. We start with the Asin Central Member of Parliament, Kennedy Ohene Ejapong. He was present supposedly in 4 out of 28 sittings and was absent without permission on 24 out of the 28 occasions. Of course, if you add the 24 to the 4, you get the complete 28 meetings in that meeting, so to speak, because that is one meeting out of those you would have in the year. Now, his longest consecutive absence without permission, that is more than the 15 consecutive sitting threshold, was 19 sittings from October 26th, 2021 to November the 25th, 2021. Within this meeting, Mr. Kennedy Ohene Ejapong has never been absent without or with permission. So he was also always absent without permission. That's for the Asin Central MP. Let's move to the Dome Kwabenya MP, Sarah Adjoa Safo. She was present on 2 occasions out of the 28 sittings, and she was absent with permission on 7 out of those occasions. So you add the 7 to the 2 and you get 9 sittings, and then absent without permission in 19 out of the 28 sittings. Her longest consecutive absence without permission in the period under review was 13 sittings from the 26th of October to the 16th of November. So those are some details for you. Maybe we'll do the final one. Henry Quartey, Member of Parliament for Ayawaso Central. He was present in 5 out of the 28 sittings and was absent without permission on 23 occasions. Of course, 23 plus 5 giving you the 28. His longest consecutive absence without permission, that is more than the 15 consecutive sitting threshold, was 19 sittings from October the 26th, 2021 to November the 25th, 2021. And he was never absent with permission. Those are the details you're looking for.
I was not be talking about details about these 3 persons. Details about other members of Parliament.
Other members of Parliament.
Yes,
may be liable.
who
may be liable.
It is important.
Evidence.
We don't have to create the impression that we are zeroing in on only these 3 honorable members.
Right.
Let us know the details regarding all the 275 members. For me, if we did that, then we will be doing ourselves a very good deed. Okay, so we can go further and look at the attendance from Roxy, my good self, and others. That's very important. And I mean, and as you said, there's nowhere in the standing orders of the Constitution that talks about consecutive sittings.
Yes. So no, I think that has been clarified. No consecutive sittings. But let me just do this lest I forget. I'll allow you to go ahead. I remember Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram, Sam George, and I noted it here, so I had to go back to it, saying that Lower West Akim lawmaker, just because you cite that there could be maybe other MPs who have fallen foul, Lower West Akim lawmaker Che Bafo was absent for a whole year in 2019. A whole year. That would be how many sittings? 4? How many meetings?
That would be 3 meetings.
3 meetings.
Yes.
Because each one is a quarter.
Yes.
Right. So 4 months thereabouts for each meeting, right?
3 months. That's about between 12 to 13 weeks.
Okay, so recess is also factored in.
Yes.
So 3 meetings and then the break is also factored in. So this is what Sam George said about Lower West Akim lawmaker Che Bafo. This was as far back as 2019. So if we're going to address this, do you think we should be...
And that's the 7th Parliament.
The 7th Parliament.
Yes,
should we be retrospective with this, or should we stick to the 8th Parliament?
You know, for me, there is an issue that has come up. So we need to deal with what is at hand now.
Right.
If you read the Constitution, Article 97, 1 says, a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament, given some criteria or scenarios.
So let's look at what pertains to this.
Upon a dissolution of Parliament, if there's a military takeover, all of us go.
Dissolution means when the Parliament comes to an end.
Sure. You're right. But if there's a military takeover to all of us go.
Now we don't. We talk of coup.
I mean, it is an aspect that will also bring clarity to Parliament.
Naturally dissolve.
Yes. If he's elected as Speaker of Parliament or the C, if he's absent without the permission in writing of the Speaker and is unable to offer a reasonable explanation to the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges from 15 sittings of a meeting of Parliament during any period that Parliament has been summoned to meet and continues to meet. So, the fact that you've not officially informed Mr. Speaker of your absence doesn't automatically, get rid of you from Parliament. So that is why, reasonably, there is the Committee on Privileges.
Right.
There could be a genuine reason. So you have to go and make your case.
Is that to say, Dr. Nyako, if I understand you correctly, I'm a member of Parliament. I've sent myself for, let's say, 16 times without, informing Mr. Speaker. And then I'm hauled before the Privileges Committee, and then I'm able to substantiate that maybe owing to circumstance A or B, I was unable to inform the Speaker of Parliament. Does it discount the fact that I've been absent for 16 occasions? That doesn't mean that there will be no punitive measures against me because maybe I made an effort to get to Mr. Speaker but couldn't? Is that
maybe there were circumstances beyond your control. For me, that is why the committee is there. That was why the Constitution didn't say that as soon as you go beyond 15, you should automatically be out of Parliament. There should be grounds for you, as Les will tell us, grounds for you to go and defend yourself.
Hold on, very quickly. Is that your understanding of this, portion of? That's the Constitution you're reading from, right? Okay. Yeah. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, it's a procedure. It's an inquiry.
Right.
It's like a trial. You must be tried.
Right. So the facts of the matter, everything must be brought to bear.
Exactly.
Okay. I just wanted that clarity.
Yeah, that is why, for instance, you could have gotten involved in an accident. And to the Speaker in writing, it's a very simple process. It's a form that we fill.
Right.
It's not that you write a love letter to the Speaker. It's just a form.
Right.
And it goes through a procedure for approval.
I'll come back to you for the procedure because it's crucial for me because of especially of the case of Sarah Adjasafo, and I'm sure you know why. So go ahead.
Earlier in the week, Speaker made a ruling. Is it a ruling or opinion on the floor?
Right.
And this point was that there's nowhere in our standing orders that talks about attendance register. He made that point. So he said that since Peter Alajate, the late Speaker, made that pronouncement, he has never signed the attendance register
He
before.
did make mention of that.
So in that instance, if you use the attendance register to judge his presence or absence from the House, you'll be misleading. Unless there are other means that can capture that in terms of videos and all that. Okay, so
do you agree with the Speaker as far as his interpretation of what Peter Alajate?
I have an issue. Yesterday,
what is your issue?
Yesterday, I raised this issue on the floor that we have to do away with ambiguities. We have to be clear on our minds. You cannot convince me that attendance register is not relevant. So how do we judge whether somebody was in the House or not?
Because again, you could be in the House, you could claim you were in the House, but maybe visually, no camera captured you or something of the sort, and then you are not in the register. What then shows that you were actually on the floor?
So I respectfully disagree with that position. That was why I made that position on the floor yesterday, that we need to come together in terms of consensus in the House. The best way forward. And I remember one of our colleagues from the other side said that one can be done via a substantive motion. Okay, and our leader, James Abunsu, said that we could use the clocking system to achieve that. So I support...
Do you agree with that?
I agree.
The biometric clocking system, do you agree with that?
Of course I agree. I agree with any system that will do away with ambiguity.
Okay.
I am somebody who has been pushing for discipline, punctuality. And I never go anywhere late.
Okay, all right.
I never even miss, when I was at the University of Ghana teaching, I never missed a class. I never went to class late.
Right.
And I've tried to bring this attitude to Parliament. I don't see why, we are human beings. One day you can be incapacitated. Something can happen to you.
Right.
Reasonably, if something prevents you from performing your legitimate responsibility, you'll be absolved. But a situation where people deliberately abuse the system For me, I'm against that.
Is
But
that what
the
you,
procedure,
just briefly, before I let Roxanne walk us through the processes involved, is that how you feel about Sarah Adwoa-Safo in her situation? Do you feel she has deliberately taken advantage of Parliament, the loopholes in there, and has absented herself? How do you feel about her particular situation?
I wouldn't go that tangent because I don't have the full facts. I wouldn't want to.
It appears no one has the full facts. It appears all of you are.
So when she appears,
very unwilling to speak.
When she appears before the previous committee, we will then know the full facts. I don't want to jump the gun.
All right.
Regarding
thank you for making that point. If you're, and I don't know whether you found the
I have.
portion you wanted to read, but I wanted you to walk us through the process. So you want to absent yourself, or you realize that there is a need for you to be absent. Very quickly, in about a minute, what process do you go through to ensure that your absence is with permission?
Yes, you file a form called absent with permission form.
Okay.
Just like the way we have.
I think it is leave of absence.
Yeah, leave of absence form or absent with permission form. Just as the way we have question form, if you want to file a question directed at a minister of state. So you complete it, you give the reasons, and you state the number of days that you'll be absent. And then your leader of the caucus will endorse it, there's a portion. And then the clerk's office will forward it to Speaker for approval. When that is done, and the number of days that you indicated that you'll be absent with leave of the Speaker is exhausted, and you are unable to deal with the business for which you stayed away from the house, all you have to do is to put in another application.
Right.
And so as many times as you put in the application and it's granted by the Speaker, you could stay away.
Because that also means that, let's say, you could put in the application, but it will not be granted by the
exactly.
In which case, your absence will be committed.
No, in which case there will be a communication from the Speaker that your application for leave, for absent with leave, has been denied.
Right. In which case, your absence, if you are absent,
if you continue
it will
to stay
be
away
without permission.
Exactly.
Okay.
And all these matters are communicated to the table office. That is why when you see the votes and proceedings, the green one, you see a number of MPs who are absent, but they will come with the narrative with permission.
Right.
And those that are absent are absent without permission.
Right. I also want to find out, does it have to go through a particular process before it gets through the Speaker?
Yes.
What is that process?
The process, you pick the form from the table office, you complete it, you hand it over to the leader of your caucus, to your majority leader or the whip. There's a portion that they endorse.
So that could also be minority leader or minority whip.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then from there, it is forwarded back to the table office. They then will compile them at the end of every day, together with the number of questions, forms that have been filled by members. Then they are forwarded to the clerk's office and further forwarded to the Speaker's office for approval. So there are a lot of clerical works in this matter.
So I had to go there because in the instance of Sarah Adwoa-Safo, I have heard the likes of Muntaka and others intimate that she followed this process, and of course she had to go through her leader, Seiche Mensah Bonsu.
Yes.
And for some reason, it did not end up with the Speaker. And Sarah Adwoa-Safo started finding out that she was being marked absent without permission. At which point, she realized, no, something is going on. So then she communicated directly to the Speaker. That's why I was asking you for the processes. So you must go through your leadership. She then communicated directly to the Speaker. But it baffles my mind. Why? I mean, because at the point where the majority leader or whoever takes receipt of this, does that person have the right not to forward it for the process to flow or disapprove it or anything of the sort?
You see, those are discretionary powers. And I'll explain. In our parliament, every member is by law supposed to belong to a caucus. Okay. So that is why we have the whip system. So you have recourse to your leadership. That is why some of these administrative processes are channeled through our leadership.
That's why even the independent candidate has to caucus with one side.
Thank you.
Right.
So for instance, if I want a statement to be made on the floor, like he does and I do, when you finish, you can't just rush to the Speaker's Secretariat for it to be admitted. You have to channel it through your whip or your leader for them to minute on it that they approve of the content of the statement for purposes of admissibility.
Right.
Okay. So if we have cause to believe that your leave of absence form has been unduly, inexplicably detained at the office of your leader, all right, you can, of course, as a member of Parliament, you can have recourse to the Speaker.
Which supposedly she did,
Of
stating
course,
clearly that
so the Speaker,
I submitted to my leader, but apparently he's not giving it to you, so I'm reaching out
So the
to you
Speaker
directly.
can override that
Right.
and direct that, submit that to me directly.
Okay,
And I will take the issue.
Can that be
with leadership.
retrospective? For example, I submitted to my leader that, let's say, from the start of February, I'll be absent till the end of March for some reasons. And my majority leader did not, submit it. Now, when I reach out to Mr. Speaker, let's say mid-March, can it be retrospective? After I submitted from, I just need to...
I think that can be done if you can submit evidence. And the evidence is that when you file such forms, such processes, I do keep copies.
Right.
So for instance, if I file a question, I'll quickly make a copy because sometimes they fall through the cracks.
Right.
Okay, so you quickly will provide your copy for that to be regularized. So if the former deputy majority leader is able to provide copies of those that she had channeled through the office of her leadership and yet didn't get to the desk of the Speaker can look at it and make some favorable pronouncements in her favor.
No, so
But let me touch on this matter.
Briefly, so I can
he
also
made a
bring in
point
Muntaka.
regarding the interpretation of the Speaker in terms of being present in the House. And I also have a problem with that interpretation. Because you see, pursuant to Article 11 of our Constitution, subclause 2, decisions of superior courts become part of our laws.
Right.
And that one, you can't, and decisions of courts are in rem. They are noticed to the whole world.
And just to clarify, it's not just the Supreme Court, the Apex Court. It also includes the Appellate Court and the High Court.
Exactly. So it's the Superior Court. That's what I mean.
Now, I just wanted to clarify what you're saying, because
Very
someone listening may think superior means just the Supreme Court.
So it's actually judgment in rem. When they make declarative orders, everybody is bound by it. Now, when the Supreme Court makes pronouncements on attendance or presence in the chamber, and lays emphasis on you must be present and voting, that for me, your presence at a committee, your presence at other functions related to parliamentary work may not satisfy the requirement interpreted by. That's why, I recall I said here that the judiciary intruded in the powers of Parliament. If you read the Constitution, a sitting of Parliament includes committee sittings. Quickly, if I can do that.
Quickly.
So it's a problem it's a problem that you have to be present in the chamber in order to be marked as present. You understand me? So you see, sitting includes a period during which Parliament is sitting continuously without adjournment, and a period during which it is sitting in committee.
Right.
Okay. So, for instance, yesterday and Monday, the Public Accounts Committee, we've sat. So we have to be oscillating between the committee proceedings and proceedings on the floor, so that it can be accounted for. So like he said, I also have a problem there. So it's an area that we need to clear.
So you have a problem with the Speaker saying, for example, that you can come and not sign.
Speaker's interpretation,
right,
is in consonance with the constitutional provision and the interpretation on sitting of Parliament.
Right.
But the Supreme Court in this judgment, which is the on sitting of Parliament.
Right.
But the Supreme Court in this judgment, which is the Abdullahi judgment,
right,
is laying emphasis on present in the chamber, presence.
And this takes precedence, right? Now that the court has ruled on this, like you mentioned, it takes, and I'm intentionally doing this, it takes precedence. So it means that
it's of currency.
What the Speaker is saying currently is not in consonance with what the court has determined.
What the court didn't do
because this immediately becomes binding on you.
I'm gathering this from the judgment. What the court didn't do specifically is to define what present in Parliament means. But if you read the ruling at page 19, paragraph 3, for instance, in effect, the framers of the Constitution place voting in Parliament on a higher order of importance or magnitude than debating. That's why Parliament can commence business and proceed to debate a matter as long as at least 1/3 of its members are in attendance. It cannot proceed to take a decision on the matter by vote unless and until at least 1/2 of members are present.
Right.
You see, in one breath they say attendance, now they say present. But down there they use attendance again. The higher quorum threshold for voting, set at a minimum of half the membership of Parliament, is designed to ensure that decisions of the House, which carry legal or legislative consequences, are not taken unless at least half of the members of Parliament is in attendance. Now they've come back to attendance again. Okay. So
is there ambiguity?
Yes.
Where lies the ambiguity? Is it in what Parliament was practicing before, which
because if you use presence in Parliament, the interpretation is enlarged or clarified in the definition the Constitution itself places in sitting. What does it mean to be present at sitting of Parliament? When I'm participating in the Committee of Parliament at public accounts and interrogating the Auditor General's report, the Constitution says I'm present in Parliament. I'm participating in a sitting of Parliament. Okay, that means you are present in Parliament. But the judges are using present and in attendance in a manner interchangeably. But given the circumstances we find ourselves now, it's creating a problem.
Okay, all right. Let's.
He's a lawyer, so
I want you to quickly react to this bit, and also consider, just to wrap on this end of the conversation. Also consider what Muntaka says about the fact that with Sarah Joseph, and I'm leaving out Henry Quarty and Kennedy Ejapong for a specific reason, because theirs is a straightforward matter. I think the Privileges Committee will deal with that. But when it comes to Sarah Joseph, he has intimated that for whatever reason, there are some problems with their children. We don't know whether it is health related or whatever. And that social welfare in the United States could take them, from her. And you know how the system is there. If she isn't there performing her duties as a mother. Does that change the complexion of the conversation for you when it comes to Sarah Joseph, especially considering now that we know that she actually went through Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu and somehow it did not get to Mr. Speaker, and she had to file on her own.
Yeah, before I answer that question, the position of Roxanne regarding Supreme Court's ruling using attendance and also presence and all that.
Right.
I mean, the point is that if you read the constitutional provision, Article 104, it talks about present and voting.
Right.
They are linked. If you are in a committee meeting, you cannot vote. You cannot vote. So for me, that is why in the judgment of the Supreme Court, taking critical decisions in the House, okay, that relates to Article 104 of the Constitution and Order 1091, we are talking. The emphasis is on present and voting. If you're in a committee, you cannot vote. Okay, when we are taking that consideration. So we need to also, bring that one in perspective. And issue of Ajasafo, and you are making the point that this is what Muntaka is saying. I don't think that the majority leader will deliberately deny Sarah Ajasafo her rights of legitimately seeking absence from the House. Okay, so now this is what Muntaka is saying. When she appears before the committee, she will have to prove it, as Roxanne, my good friend, is saying. We don't have to veer into the arena of speculation and all that. Okay, so I don't think that. 2 weeks ago, I wanted leave of absence. I went to my majority whip, another prayer. He told me he won't let me go. And I had to convince him that I'll be back on the day he wanted me to come. Okay, before he yielded. So, discretionally, the leadership can tell you, because of ABC reason, or ABC reasons, we wouldn't let you go. Okay, that doesn't mean that maybe they have an issue with you or not. But on this particular information from Muntaka, I want to put on record that we need to get the full facts at the hearing. Otherwise, these speculations don't help. They don't help because it is coming from Muntaka. You've not even heard from the majority leader whether what is being alleged by Muntaka, is right. You know what I mean? So we need to be careful about that. You also raised an issue regarding...
Quickly on that point, very quickly.
Yeah, that some people are saying that a referral to the previous committee is not necessary. Okay? And yesterday, our leader, James Abonsu, raised the issue. He quoted...
I didn't quite get that. Who said what was not necessary?
No, referring the matter to the previous committee. Some are against that. There are some people who are against that. And Chairman Sabons yesterday quoted Article 106(13) that says, where it is deemed determined by a committee of Parliament appointed for the purpose that the particular bill is of an urgent nature, the provisions of the preceding clauses of this article, other than Clause 1 and Paragraph A of Clause 2, shall not apply. And accordingly, the President shall give his assent to the bill on his presentation for assent. It was about the work of the committee being brought to the plenary for deliberation, for debate, and voting. So there is an article that they are also quoting that when the committee's work is done, there's no need for deliberations in the House.
Right.
And that is a contention. And yesterday, the Speaker himself did admit that he's making a proposal. So, and we are working in uncharted territory. So we need to find a way of dealing with some of these contentious issues.
Which are somewhat gray areas.
Gray areas. Yeah, that's a most appropriate word. And again, yesterday I liked the attitude of Muntaka.
The minority chief whip.
Yes, apart from when the Speaker asked him to sit down, and he didn't want to sit down. That was the...
Do you feel that was wrong?
Yeah, for me, respectfully.
Because he was making the point that we listen to you, Mr. Speaker,
yeah,
and you will ultimately decide, but
yeah, I know.
I also have the right to speak.
Yeah, for me, I was thinking that when the Speaker asked him to sit, he was making I support his position, but when the Speaker said that he should sit down, for me, he should have respectfully sat down. That doesn't mean that he couldn't rise to because sit down, maybe the Speaker wanted to say something. You listen, then you rise again to continue with the point. And he raised, a very important point. If you look at our standing orders...
Have to be very brief on this.
Yeah, I will brief. This Order 76. 1 says that every application to Parliament shall be in the form of a petition, and every petition must be presented by a member who shall be responsible for the observance of the rules contained in Appendix A. To these orders, I wouldn't even go for that. The most important point is that, according to Muntaka, petitions of this nature must emanate from a member of the House, and Speaker is not a member of the House. So, Speaker referring our colleagues to the committee, he felt that it was
problematic.
Wrong. Yeah, it was wrong. So, I think, for me, I like a spirit. Muntaka is one of those in the House who understand our standing orders and also the Constitution. I do off my heart for him because for me, if somebody is good, you need to make that point. He's very solid when it comes to this. And I was not surprised that he was able to, when you know something, you are very confident. Okay? And I saw that in him yesterday. At times I disagree with him, but when it comes to our two holy books, the standing orders and the Constitution,
so point made. I want us. We can't keep going on this. But
he said very important things.
Okay. So let me do this. Hold on. Let me do this. I want us to move on to talk about the majority leader's incident or his criticism of former President Mahama. I'll let you do what you're about to do in just about a minute, if you can. Just give whatever detail.
It said a lot of things. Look, I disagree with the Honourable Minority Whip on his opposition to the Speaker's directives. Because you see, if you go to Order 53.1, we have order of business.
Let's just break it. Let's go for the meat of the matter. I don't want us to go too much because of time.
It thinks that Speaker hasn't got the power to refer the matter to the Privileges Committee using the statement by the Speaker. But it's part of the procedure.
Point to me where
that is fixated on Order 76.
Where a member must make the move.
The Speaker is not saying that he's making this referral because he received a petition.
Right.
Speaker came by what we call formal communication by the Speaker, which is under Order 53.1 sub E.
The referral.
Right.
The referral.
You understand?
The referral is not captured under that.
Please, the Speaker has the power to make referral. And let me refer you to the order.
Petitions,
If you go to Order 164. 164, which is on privileges, the Committee on Privileges. It says, there shall be a committee of privileges, which shall consist of the first Deputy Speaker as chairman and not more than 30 other members.
Yeah.
It shall be the duty of the committee by order of the House to inquire into any complaint of contempt of Parliament or breach of privilege or any matter of privilege which may be referred to it, and to recommend to the House such action as the committee may consider appropriate. Speaker is saying, by his formal communication to the House, a breach of privilege has occurred.
Right.
So Speaker is sound in approach.
All right. So point made.
It is here. Speaker is sound in approach.
Are you contesting that? But let me get this. Yeah. It appears there's some disparity. Are you saying that in your standing orders, what you see
I'm not
is different
saying
from
anywhere
what you're
the Speaker has the power to make that referral. From what I
am saying that
are you making
the Order 76 of our standing orders is not the only way a matter can be referred to any committee of Parliament by way of petition.
So you sort this matter will be sorted out. This matter will be sorted out.
But the Speaker
in Parliament, in the House of Parliament,
where does it mandate the Speaker to make that referral?
I am not saying it mandates the Speaker. I am saying the referral can be made by the Speaker.
So the interpretation of it is now, the interpretation of your standing orders, and I feel maybe it is high time, as some have said. You've had processes in the past to
in fact, the new one is ready.
Second looks at your standing orders. I feel that would be
being revised
in the right direction, because it appears there are too many of these issues coming up. But let's quickly talk about the issue to do with the majority leader, Osei Mensah-Bonsu, member of Parliament for Swami, saying, well, former President Mahama, and I'll start with you, former President Mahama has been noticeably, conspicuously absent from major events at which the keynote speaker is President Akufo-Addo. He cites, for example, 2013, post the election petition, the first one we've had in this republic, where Akufo-Addo was not present as Mr. President gave the SONA. And he said that was because at the time, the presidency of Mahama was being challenged. He says again in 2014, Akufo-Addo was out of town, but subsequently came. In fact, he says in 2013, the minority caucus was not there, but in 2014, the minority, that is the MPP, was there in the absence of Akufo-Addo. But he says there have been 7 key occasions, including the last SONA delivered by President Akufo-Addo on March 30, where former President Mahama was simply absent. The question is why?
I'm struggling to appreciate the perspective that the majority leader wants to bring into this matter. Is it his evidence that when the president delivered SONA last week or sometime last 2 weeks, the former president was in town? Is that his evidence?
Do you have evidence to the contrary?
I don't see the relevance at all.
You think it's irrelevant, what he's saying?
Yes.
It's irrelevant?
Very, very irrelevant. Because this was a man, when he was in power, he invited you even to economic forum, you will not attend. You see, that is why I keep telling people that you must be careful when you are chewing the fingers of a monkey. Because tomorrow, for all you know, that was your sister's fingers you were chewing. When they were doing all manner of things to His Excellency the President when he was in power, and they will not participate if the economy is broke, fix it. You don't need help. Today they are calling for help. They are going to him in the house. They are doing all manner of things.
Who is going to him in the house?
Why? Didn't you hear that the government sent an emissary to him in the house?
Are you referring to Gabi?
Of course.
Right.
Who told you the government sent him?
Sorry?
Who told you the government sent him?
Who told me that government sent
Government sent Gabi to go and meet
Why?
the
So
president.
why did Gabi go there? To go and do what?
Gabi and Mahama, are they not friends?
Who told you that they are friends?
But what they purportedly discussed was that.
But who
that
told you
about
that they are
friendship?
friends?
I mean, the e-levy and stuff like that.
No,
What did that
it's
have
not
to do?
everything that you
Anyway,
attack.
so you-
don't
yeah.
attack everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I am
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that the honorable majority leader is raising a storm in a teacup. It is no issue. It is a non-issue. And the former president has been attending a lot of programs. If he's unavoidably absent, that is fine. I've been in Parliament since 2017. I can show you photographs where the president came to Parliament, the former president was there. Does President Kufuor attend every function that the president holds?
But back to back
No.
on
Hold on.
7
No.
occasions. I
It
mean,
cannot be.
that sense.
It cannot. It should give me the occasions. It cannot be. You cannot just throw out numbers and say that on those 7 different occasions, the former president wasn't. Is he backing it with evidence that on those occasions the former president was present?
So are you calling for evidence?
Exactly.
For these
are
events
matters.
to be
When you
made?
raise it, then we have to interrogate them. Otherwise, then you are just engaging propaganda.
Do you think
Against-
do you think the majority leader is engaging in propaganda? In
Of
this
course.
instance? He's engaging.
Of
in
course,
propaganda.
because I don't see former President Kufuor at every official function by the.
But I think there are considerations. There's the age consideration, for example. I mean, you've seen. I mean, not to denigrate
No,
his
Lisa,
president, but you know that looking at
he's
the
raising
circumstances,
these
he
matters
cannot
as a matter
physically
of
be at
state
all of
protocol.
these events.
No. He's raising these matters as a matter of state protocol. What about if President GM says that he's not well? What about if he says he's not well, so he was unable to attend? But he's raising these matters as a matter of state protocol. That as a former president, it behoves on you to be present at some of the state functions. And I'm saying, the former president, His Excellency John Ajay Kufuor, does he attend every function organized by the present head of state? No. So this is pure propaganda to create another public disfavor for the ex-president. But it won't wash.
Right.
It won't wash.
Some people say this is mere.
It's a journey to
this is
nowhere.
mere convention, and we've seen it. There are times when some presidents have been sworn in, and other former presidents and others have not.
No, but let the record reflect that as much as possible, JM attends official
or the
functions.
opposition leaders had not been there. So why this bit? How relevant is it? Roxon is questioning the relevance of this, and he says it is propaganda. What do you think?
Our General Secretary was in Parliament. Is that not sufficient?
In the spirit of oneness, I mean, you are opposition today, you might be in government tomorrow. And for me, I think that, and I agree largely with the majority leader, because I have not been seeing former President Mahama in most of government organized programs. For me,
Most of them. Can you cite 1 or 2 for me that where you've not seen him, where you felt he should have been there? Apart from the SONA, because that is the
SONA,
latest one that has come up. But apart from the SONA.
I've not seen him. 6 March also.
Independence Day celebrations.
Yes, I've not seen.
The one in Tamale.
Not only
Or
that
the
one,
Cape Coast.
Not only that one. For me, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm saying that he has been conspicuously missing. I mean, in some of these events, and I think that in the spirit of oneness, togetherness, I mean, he can do better. Okay, so and he has to.
But you see, let's do this, Dr. Nyako. Roxon is calling for evidence. I'm asking you, which specific ones?
And I've mentioned to you.
Which one?
I just told you about Independence Day.
Can you clarify which one? Is it the last one?
The last one was
Cape
at
Coast.
Cape Coast.
That was at the Cape Coast Stadium.
I didn't see him there. Was he there?
Okay.
The one that was done before COVID in Kumasi, I didn't see him there. Okay, the SONA, this is my second SONA witness in Parliament. I've not seen him there. And prior to that, the 7th Parliament, I have not seen him there. I might be wrong, I mean, but I'm talking about what I have seen and what I've not seen. But I mean, I think that President Mahama, since losing the election, he's not happy, he's paying.
Is that not a normal reaction? President Akufo-Addo, when he lost the election petition, was he not paid?
When he lost the petition, he graciously.
When he lost in 2008, was he not paid? When he lost in 2012, was he not paid until he won?
After the petition hearing, he held a press conference and conceded and congratulated former President Mahama. He did that.
Right.
But when President Mahama lost the recent one, after the Supreme Court hearings, he has since that time not come out openly to make concession and even to congratulate Nana Akufo-Addo. And that is wrong.
There was talk recently about his comments in recent times captured by the Daily Guide, which suggests that he had conceded.
You are shifting the argument from president.
No, I'll bring him back.
You brought in J. You brought in J. Kufo. Didn't you bring in J. Kufo?
A concession.
I feel that is a different tangent you're going on. But
I brought in President for purposes of being president.
What I'm saying that
concession statement.
President
Mahama,
President Mahama
2030
must be a statesman. He must prove to Ghanaians that he loves Ghanaians more than being a president. His behavior for me.
So if he's not being a statesman, what is he being like?
I mean, this pettiness, you wouldn't want to have anything doing with Chief Minister told us that when he was the president, and now Akufo-Addo at some points attended SONA and other functions organized by him. He needs to reciprocate this. We are building a democracy.
Are you saying former President Mahama has never attended a SONA organized by your side? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that.
Because that would not be correct.
That's what I'm saying. You can correct me. You know what I mean? I'm saying that you can correct me when I'm wrong. But I'm saying that since I've been in Parliament, I've never seen him there. In the 7 parliaments, he might, I don't know, but I'm saying that what I know is that I've not seen him in most, I didn't say all, I choose my words carefully. Most of government organized programs, and that doesn't augur well for a country that is building upon our democratic credentials. And I'll plead with him in all humility that we need to come together to build this country. One day he might, okay, and he will expect others to accord him some of these courtesies, you know what I mean? But I want to still re-echo the point that it appears to me that losing the presidency is something that is eating him up. And he has to overcome that and understand that you can never be at a certain position for a long time. In this life, certain things happen for a reason. At times, you lose something for something better. And that's very important. And that's what former President Mahama must understand. So we are expecting him next year, if we are alive, the next year sooner, he should be there. And we all accord him the dignity that he deserves as a former president of this country.
Quick reaction.
You sit here, you talk ill about the man, and you talk of dignity. Please.
Hot ill.
You have no evidence.
Ben,
you are just on a propaganda speech.
Ben, correct him. What ill did I say about him?
Please, there have been a lot.
You go out there and say,
I guess he'll elaborate on what ails his thing.
Yes, talk about it.
There will be a lot of state funerals. State funerals even this year. I've seen the former president at 3 state funerals organized at the...
Talking about SONA, you are going to funeral.
What is SONA? Are we not talking about state functions? Didn't your leader mention state functions? Is SONA the only state functions we have? Dr. Nyaku, is state of the nation the only state function we have?
Roxin the Esquire. Go ahead.
What are you saying?
Go ahead.
I have seen him attend. I have seen him appear together with majority leader people sitting on their dates. Is that not a state function? What exactly do they want from President Mahama? MPP, what exactly do you want from him?
You want him to be a statesman?
The man is a statesman of the highest level, if you care to know. If you don't see the man, you are worried. When you see him, you are worried. What exactly do you want from President Mahama? He's coming. Get prepared. He's taking over.
Coming to where?
He's taking over. So
coming to Bollywood boy or where?
Agbe, This is an argument to nowhere. President Mahama has been available, he's been attending state functions if it's necessary. So let this propaganda die in this studio that he doesn't attend state functions. He does.
Next year, so now you should be there. We expect.
If it's available, he will attend. If it's not available, go sooner that you will defer for so many months before you come and
He has to be available.
He doesn't have your time. If you can't come in February, he doesn't have your time in March.
You should make himself available in next year.
You don't even get ready to deliver, to perform matters of state protocol. You are not available.
Look at him. Nice man, look at him. He has to make himself available.
So show some respect.
Oh, I mean, I respect him all the time.
Agbe, this is...
But can we say that former President Mahama, I mean, on the back of some of what has been said, should also make an attempt to be at some of these...
Agbeko, the man is available at 10 state functions.
He said, Akapo, you are still saying Agbeko.
Akapo. I have a friend who looks like you. It's Agbeko, so pardon me. Akapo, the man is available. He attends state functions. I am shocked that we are spending this time to discuss this matter. Because you know why? For the exact reason that they want to do propaganda. That's why he started that he's not a statesman. He's in pain for losing.
To be fair, he didn't say he wasn't a statesman. He said that he should act like a statesman.
Yes. It means the man is not like acting like a statesman. That's what it means.
It doesn't take away from the fact that he is. He's saying that in some of these instances, because of his actions, he is not acting like one.
If somebody
we can say you are an MP, but you can do certain things and people will say you're not acting like an MP. Doesn't mean you're not an MP.
Somebody say act like a journalist. It means that you are not acting like a journalist.
It doesn't mean I am not a journalist. Maybe in that instance, the person feels I am not.
Akapu, the point I'm making is that this is a propaganda complaint. It's a complaint that is to turn propaganda against the image and pedigree of the former president. He's available. He attends funerals. Ever often, he's in my region attending state functions. Ever often, I see him in Accra attending state functions.
What was the last state function you saw him at?
I think that should be...
we'll check.
A function organized by...
you see how you are struggling?
State protocol, no. I think it's a funeral.
You are struggling.
So, no, it's either the Honorable Kofi Adda's funeral or so. And that's a state funeral.
Right.
That's a state funeral. So this is de minimis. This is an inconsequential matter. That shouldn't engage the government that is really under economic burden. Instead of talking economics, we are here talking about attendance at state functions. See how you are bereft of ideas.
But
talk economics and stop talking about
tomorrow we'll hear from the vice president.
The man who is talking sports.
The top person is
talking economics. That's what we've been told.
What he's doing.
The top person is determined by you.
If the vice president is receiving players, what should the minister for sports do?
They went to visit the.
They want to visit who?
What is wrong about that?
Didn't they visit the president recently?
No.
He has no business. The vice president,
the black princess.
What the vice president is doing?
What is wrong about that?
The function of
the motivation involved. The motivation involved for them. What is wrong about that?
Minister of sports.
Are you saying
you shock me?
The vice president
Roxanne
has lost direction?
He's lost direction completely. You go and meet players that you are talking about.
What is wrong about that?
Fremont of Paris has been the first chief of staff. What has that got to do with encouraging players to play?
Your debate today for me is
which debate? You haven't debated
so you are saying
the vice president has lost focus.
You are saying that a team
talk economics and stop
the female team cannot visit the vice president for inspiration, for encouragement, for motivation.
For which inspiration?
It is an honor to see.
Which inspiration?
What are you talking about?
That's Baumia give. You sitting here, what inspiration does Baumia give you?
Baumia gives inspiration about the economy. Listen, he gives inspiration about the economy.
I am saying it is the sports minister's job. It is the sports minister.
When JM was at the helm, he was visited by the Black Stars and other football teams. Even the president.
That is JM.
What are you talking about? What is wrong about that?
If they visit the president, I agree. He's developing. He should stop
the presence of the Black princess.
That's my point.
At the Jubilee House, and that is worrying.
All right.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Let's cease fire. We shall have more opportunity in the coming days.
Don't do that.
Don't do what?
Don't do
some
that.
of these matters.
You are just veering towards.
CD is 9 CDs. You won't talk. We are telling blaster players that
The topics was the topics then.
$2.
Not the
The topics were determined by you. When we came here, you brought the topics. Did you tell us to talk about the economy? Last week we did the economy because you gave the topics. We don't determine what to say.
What is your problem?
But what you are saying is just tangential.
It's not tangential. I am saying as the vice president is the head of the economic management team.
We know that.
He should stop performing the functions of a minister of state.
Oh,
maybe a deputy minister can do what vice president did.
Right.
So
Ghanaians cannot go and visit. Thank you very much.
Lost focus. And then
Member of Parliament for Kwadaso, Dr. Kingsley Nyako joining us together with the Member of Parliament for South Dai, Roxanne Nelson, Dafian Mekpo.